welcome to the people who are just joining in. If you're like saying hello and talking, just realize we have our microphones muted and the cameras off so we can have this beautiful focus on um, our chef and her food in front of us, but we have a PowerPoint up right now. And Heather, we have a minute till class starts, but I'm going to hand it over to you. But welcome, you guys. Welcome to Culinary Medicine. Here we are, March,
All
end of
right.
March.
Yay. Thank you.
Yay!
Uh, and like Allison was saying, just a few housekeeping guidelines. Like she said, we've all been muted, video cameras off, so we can maintain focus on Chef Alyssa today. But of course, we do encourage your questions into the chat. We hope that you'll engage, and we'll pass those questions along to Chef as we go through our time together. And by way of introduction, we've got here Chef Alyssa, a personal chef with over 25 years of experience combining great food and flavor, good nutrition, mainly focusing on healthy vegetarian meals. In fact, you guys, I just learned this. Her recipes have been featured in Vegetarian Times, Better Homes and Gardens, and local cookbooks like our Dash of Aloha. So really a treat to have her
Superstar.
knowledge here with us. So we're really excited.
Thank you.
We've also got Allison over there. She's one of our wellness coaches on the Big Island, been with us over 20 years. You got myself over on Maui. So we are well represented across the island chain. So you're in really good hands this evening. And, we start with this question here of why? Why might we want to consider moving towards this eating style? What's so special about whole food plant-based? Well, there's actually a lot to get excited about. Not only can this diet significantly cut your carbon footprint in about half, but it's also the only diet scientifically proven to prevent and even reverse chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes and coronary artery disease. You guys, that's a big, big deal, right? We're talking about preventing and reversing disease. So what is this eating style? Well, it really celebrates food in its most natural form, closest to the way that it was grown. I always say the way that our ancestors would recognize it, right? If we pulled out a bag of Cheetos, they wouldn't really know what that was. But if we're pulling it out of the earth or from trees, that's what we're aiming for. So fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. While we are maximizing those foods, we are also consciously minimizing processed foods. That means refined and added sugars, white flour, animal-derived foods, which can create an excess load that our bodies are then taxed with processing, and that can then lead to disease. So I know that changing sometimes our eating habits may seem a little bit daunting at first. This style can best be summed up by these words, these phrases we have here on the screen. These are written from Michael Pollan. He's an American author and a journalist. He's written extensively about food and health, and he coined this simple phrase to guide us. We want to eat food, not too much, and mostly plants. So thank you to him for simplifying that for us. And, I think we're all coming in. We know that vegetables are good for us and we may just struggle to eat them. Major barrier is this perception that, they don't taste good. It's a chore to have to eat those. So we are really hoping to shift your mindset, open you up to a new way of experiencing healthy food, and we want to be able to love the food that's going to love us back. So lastly, while we hope we're sparking your curiosity about healthier cooking, we are also going to put a link into the chat, and that goes to a series that was done by Stanford School of Medicine in 2016 called Food and Health. So we strongly encourage you to check that out. It's a series of 17 videos, short, 3 to 5 minutes. Each one provides the why, the how, and really practical skills on how we can eat healthier and be healthier in our lives. So let me take a moment here and just put that
Thank you, Heather. I'm like, I
little,
can't find it. Perfect.
let me put this into the chat. We hope you guys will check that out in addition to class today. And then in your confirmation email for class, we did include links to both of the recipes that Chef will be demonstrating today, as well as a few whole food plant-based eating resources. I want to take a moment, just draw your attention to this one in particular. This is our plant-based healthy plate handout. Now, many of us grew up with the food pyramid. We grew up with that, and now we have a new diagram, which is called the healthy plate, which is what you see on the screen here. Main takeaway, got the 3 divided sections. We want half of that plate dedicated to vegetables. We're hopefully going to be helping you fill that up, making them really the star of the meal. In addition, you'll see it just doesn't say meat in the protein section, right? It says protein. So we want to include plant-based options like beans, lentils, tofu, the types of ingredients we're going to be focusing in on these classes. And last takeaway here, color. Notice how vibrant, how beautiful this looks. You know, if we get excited looking at it with our eyes, we're going to be excited eating it as well. So instead of counting calories, we want to count the plants. If you are interested in learning more about the Healthy Plate, we do offer a separate 90-minute virtual class taught by a registered dietitian for Kaiser Permanente members, and it's called Get Your Plate in Shape. So that class will explore different variations on this format, but I'll share more details on that at the end of today's session. And then thank you, Allison, for putting that in the chat as well. Okay, I want to get to the meat, no, I shouldn't say meat of the matter, right? We got to get to the veggies of the matter. But before we dive into the cooking fun, I am going to be pulling up each of the recipes that Chef will be preparing today so she can briefly review the ingredients. Again, your email invitation included the links to these recipes so you can print and save them for yourself. And if you have any questions or need the recipes again, we'd be happy to provide that at the end of class today. Also want to acknowledge there might be a range of people attending tonight. For some of you, maybe it's your first time. We want to welcome you. For others, you know, you've been with us for a while now and are just building upon that knowledge that you've had over time. So we want to support you with knowledge, resources to move you in the direction that you choose at the pace that you choose. The recipes we're sharing are adaptable to your personal tastes and your personal preferences. So again, if you have questions as we go along, please put them in the chat. We'll give Chef an opportunity to answer them and share substitutions if appropriate. And ultimately, we hope you're going to be inspired and prioritize some home cooking a little more often. So congratulate yourself for being here tonight. And here's just a quick screenshot reminder of where you can find the recipes in that email. So tonight we're covering mushrooms as our main star, and she'll be preparing Chinese tacos and hot and sour soup. So with that, Chef, I think I talked fast and furious to get through the intro.
Time to get to Chef. Let's go. I want to watch her cook.
So, yeah, I'll pass the baton, the mic over to you, and you can review these recipe cards.
Okay, so yeah, the first soup I'm going to make, first recipe is the hot and sour soup. And it's a nice, easy recipe, but it's showcasing dried mushrooms. So I wanted to talk about these wood ear mushrooms a little bit, and then we are going to soak them and we're going to cook them up with fresh shiitake mushrooms too. So we've got fresh shiitake mushrooms and we've got the wood ear mushrooms, which are a dried variety. So just wanted to showcase those 2 mushrooms today. And we're basically going to just heat up some water, add in the mushrooms, carrot, ginger, chili pepper, sesame oil, and shoyu, and a little bit of bouillon, mushroom seasoning. And then we're going to cook basically the carrots and the mushrooms, so it's not going to take too long. And then at the very end, we're going to thicken it a little bit with a slurry. And then we're going to add at the very, very end some soft tofu, green onions, and some rice vinegar to give it its punch. So that's the hot and sour soup.
Oh, sorry. Somebody was bringing up, there we go. I had the wrong recipe first. I was showing the Chinese tacos. There we go. Here's the hot and sour soup recipe. Then I can flip back to the Chinese taco. My fault.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to go through it again?
No, I think I'll just put it up here on the screen, and then I think Allison put it into the chat as well.
Put it in the chat.
Thanks,
so we'll
Allison.
Both of them.
Okay,
so
now let's go back to the tacos.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just a fun stir fry, calling it Chinese tacos. So basically, you take some firm tofu. I got some extra firm tofu today, and you make a little marinade, pour it in, let it sit for a while to absorb, and then you're going to saute the tofu quick to get it a little crispy. save the marinade on the side. And then you're going to do a quick stir fry with the shiitake, ginger, garlic, water chestnuts, make it nice and crunchy, and then add in some green onions and serve it with some brown rice and lettuce leaf. And you add back in the marinade for flavor. And yeah, again, another really quick and easy recipe.
Fantastic. Okay, then
Yeah.
I will take this down and we will highlight you and we'll get cooking.
Okay. All right. So I'm first going to just want to just go again, repeat back and just show you these wood ear mushrooms if you're not familiar with them. They are a dried type of mushroom. I found them at Don Quixote or an Asian market. You can find them. You can kind of see what they look like. You rehydrate them in water. And they kind of look like, when you rehydrate them, they kind of look like kombu seaweed. Oh, you just can see actually looks a lot like kombu seaweed. So it just gets soft. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut it up. So I just had put some boiling water on and let it sit till it softens. And wood ear mushrooms, actually, they soften, but they still have a crunch. So just heads up that it's not, that's kind of the fun part about wood ear mushrooms, is they've got a nice crunchy texture. So you
Can I
just
ask
slice
you,
it thin.
yeah,
Yes.
as you're cutting it, how long do you let them soak? Like when you soak dried mushrooms, how long do you soak them?
Well, I put some boiling water on it and let it soak for like about 10 minutes.
Perfect.
And depending upon the mushroom, some of them really, as they soften, the water gets really tasty. You might not want to throw out the water. A lot of recipes you'll see that, you soak the dried mushrooms and then you use the water in the recipe, the soaking water in the recipe. So
Thank
we
you.
can add some of this, yeah, I don't know how flavorful wood ear mushrooms water is. There's also, we're going to be using shiitake mushrooms in this recipe. So I'll just put this over here. The shiitake mushrooms, I tend to like to buy fresh, but you can buy them dried, again, in like the Asian markets. And those ones, when you rehydrate them, they're good to, yeah, that shiitake water is always nice to use in the recipe if you have it. Shiitake mushrooms, a lot of times people, you saw me just do that. I do this, always take, especially for shiitake, I take off the stem because it's kind of woody, but it's also good to use it for when you're making broth, if you want to save it, dry it, and save it for later to, I tend to try and keep things like onions and carrots and celery and mushroom stems in a Ziploc bag and make a broth each week. Or if you're not going to be able to get to it right away, just put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer and you get back to it. But it's flavorful. So but it's a woody stem. It's not like button mushrooms. You would not want to attempt to eat a shiitake mushroom stem in general. So
And how do you clean the mushroom? Do you wash them or?
Yeah, these always, well, shiitake tend to not look dirty, but I gave them a quick rinse and dry them off. The wood ear, I didn't wash them. I mean, they looked really clean. I think it's just kind of a visual thing. I mean, generally I give things a quick rinse, but I dry them well too afterwards. So I'm just going to slice these. The price is a little daunting. Like you see the fresh. I found these at Safeway loose, so you can hand pick them. You kind of want them to look dry and kind of white underneath. When you turn them under. But at Safeway they're $16.99 a pound, which sounds very daunting cost wise, but they're so light. You can get like 8 mushrooms for, I don't know, under $2. So I go ahead and use them. I think that they're just delightful fresh. So hopefully that helps answer any kind of questions you have about the mushrooms in this recipe. And then I'm using this Trader Joe's Mushroom Company umami broth seasoning for a blend, for the flavor of the broth today. Because that's a blend of all different kinds of mushrooms. So if you ever
Yeah, I
have a
haven't.
chance,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was going to say, if you have your friend on the mainland or California, have them send that to you. But if not, I haven't seen if they have that umami type of flavoring anywhere
But
else.
is mushroom seasonings around, powdered mushroom seasonings in Asian markets. So I would just have a look, or else you can just use they have these onion soup bouillons and onion flavored, chicken flavored in the vegetarian markets, or just a veggie bouillon base. But I wouldn't use too much of it. So you just don't want to take away from the nice flavor of the hot and sour soup. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Yeah, great
So
idea.
so I'm going to get the water going. And so I have it in the kitchen because it's really hot. I boiled the water ahead of time. So I will be right back.
That is a nice little tip as she's getting it for people who want to get things done a little faster. If you have one of those kettles that heat up water, for your tea, use that and you can kind of get that started on a boil. And then when you're going to make your food, it just is a kind of a quick tip to get your water boiling faster.
Right. And then yeah, it's pretty hot though. Okay, so that's my water. And I've got it on boil. So we'll see how fast. Usually these induction heaters come up to heat pretty fast. And then I have my wood ear that I've cut up ahead of time. Add that in. And I've got my shiitake mushrooms, a cup, which I think I have a little bit more than a cup, so I'll just that much in. A little bit more. And then I've got my carrots, which I julienned, which are kind of thinly cut at a diagonal. If you want me to show that later, I can. And I've got some ginger that I chopped up. Add that in. And I have fresh chili pepper that I cut up, ribbed. There's a little bit of seeds in there. And this is all just kind of, if you don't like things really spicy, you don't have to put that chili pepper in.
What kind of
And
chili
then
pepper did you use?
those are Hawaiian. Ooh,
Oh,
yeah, I went to, to get the wood ear mushrooms, I ended up going to Don Quixote, and so got a lot of this there. Toasted sesame oil and shoyu or tamari, whatever you've got in your house. And then my bouillon.
That's great. I never knew what to use. I had bought that seasoning. I'm like, I don't know what to use it for. So now I'm excited. I have something
Yeah,
to try.
right. Okay, so I'm going to let that come up to a boil, and then we will just let that cook. It won't take very long. Just put a lid on.
And I also think it's really nice how we were talking about all the different varieties of mushrooms, but you can get so many more varieties dried as well. So that's nice too, because there's just so many things to try. And often, if you're on a neighbor island, we can get more things than we used to be able to, but don't be scared of trying things that are dry. Don't be scared of trying a different type of mushroom. Maybe not for this
Yeah.
recipe, but that's the whole idea
Mhm.
of doing this.
Right. I was at Safeway this morning, and in the above the mushrooms in the produce department, it was fun. I saw that Melissa brand, and they had like 4 different kinds of dried mushrooms. They had dried shiitake. It was 0.5 ounce. Was that half an ounce for like $7.99? Dried shiitake, and then they had dried oyster mushrooms. So it looked really interesting. I almost bought them, but I didn't. And then 2 other ones. I don't know which ones they were. But that was kind of fun to see those because I I had remembered you had talked about there was some at Costco, right?
Yes.
There was, and so I had a friend go look at the two Costco's here in town, and I guess they don't carry them anymore. But I was excited to see if I
Maybe
could find them.
seasonal. And then I have a question
Hmm.
and you guys chat in your questions if you have any as this is kind of going. You know, when you get a big thing like a Costco size of dried mushroom or how are because they're dried, do they keep a long time or when you get those small bags, do you worry about that or is it kind of like seasoning? What do you recommend for dried
Well,
mushrooms?
I usually just really try and keep them as airtight as possible because I've had, them even in the package get buggy. I don't know.
Mm, yeah.
So, yeah, airtight, maybe pop them in the freezer or fridge, just somewhere to try and extend their life because they're so amazing, right? The flavors, porcini and chanterelle, they're great for really rich soups or like a pasta sauce. They are really wonderful. And today I'm going a little more on the Asian slant, but we can explore more too in another class. This is one I wanted to show you that I found. There was the maitake mushrooms. I don't know if you've ever seen these before. Let me show them to you in contrast with this green cutting board.
Oh yeah,
But
look at
see,
that.
aren't they beautiful? So you can make this almost they call it like a steak, right? Where you can marinate it and then you can put it on a cast iron skillet and then you can press it down and it will get nice and crispy and crunchy. And then you return it and do the same thing. But that's kind of fun in itself. And this was only $2.50 for this package, which was great. It was a sale for two for $5, and so I got one package. So I'm gonna have fun with that another day. But you can see that there's all kinds of there's those enoki ones, those little ones. There's so many fun mushrooms to explore. Yeah, I see that it's boiling. Woo! Ah, okay.
We feel like we're right there. We all got the steam like, ooh,
Right.
dinner's
Just got a
ready.
Oh
facial.
my. Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
So
We're happy. That's good.
yeah. So I'm going to go ahead because everything looks nice and soft in there while we were talking, and I'm going to go ahead and make the slurry. So um, you need 2 tablespoons, but I'm going to just recipe calls for 1 to 2 tablespoons. I'm going to start with one. See
A
how it goes because I
cornstarch, are
don't
you
want it.
saying? Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
cornstarch slurry. It can be arrowroot too. I've got
Hmm.
some organic cornstarch. I'm going to turn this puppy down. Is it affecting the camera at
No,
all?
no, we can
Oh,
see. It looks great.
hopefully not. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stir this as I put it in. So I don't want it any clumping.
We
But
did
you
have a
can see it.
question. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no,
Not about this, but when you're done.
I was just going to add that, when you see different hot and sour soup recipes, because a lot of times they'll have like some sort of like egg in it or pork or you'll see it's interesting all the different kinds and they talk about um, part of the hot comes from white pepper. If you like white pepper, the distinction in this Chinese soup is this white pepper. You can or don't have to put it in. Um, and also the thickness. Some of them look really, really thick, like they put a lot of cornstarch in there. And so it's also a subjective. I think every recipe, right, is subjective. How do you like it? Do you want it to just have some body or do you want it to be super thick? So, please play with the ingredients, how you like it. This is just a guideline.
And
So
it
I,
looks so hearty, but it also looks so refreshing. Isn't that?
mm-hmm,
It
mm-hmm,
really does.
Like it
yeah,
looks
yeah,
nurturing.
Nurturing,
Yeah.
right
yeah,
word.
nurturing. Okay, so I don't want to put this now. So what I got this fresh aloha tofu, which was soft. And most of your recipes that I came across will say using soft tofu, but soft tofu is like really soft. So you've got to cut it carefully. You've got to, everything you do, you don't want to like really stir it really hard once that tofu is in because it'll just start disintegrating. If you just don't even want to deal with that, you can use firm tofu and just cut it up and put it in. So, but today I'm going to show you the soft version. And I just want to show you here. This is with one, I don't know if you can get much of a glimpse, but that's 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. So I am going to add half a tablespoon. We'll just see how it looks as it.
And I kind of like the way you do it. Like if you see something, you can always start with half and then put in a little more versus if you put in too much, it's can't take it back.
Right. And I personally don't want it like super thick, but I want to have it to have some good texture. Now, what would be the word? Viscosity? That's the right word for this? Okay. All right, so let's see if it will do its thing. Okay, and then I'm going to add in some green onions. Save a little bit to the end. Carefully. Oh, this is a little, let me see here now. There's some water in there.
It's nice to see how quickly you can make this soup so quickly.
Right?
It's great.
That nice?
Yeah.
I'm going to add just a little more.
Great for meal preps too, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a question, and you can talk about it in between also. We had a question from John and Robin about how do you use lion's mane mushroom? I know that's, I don't know if you've ever used that.
I once went to a one-on-one cooking class in Seattle years ago, and the chef made a lion's mane mushroom dish. It was delicious. I can't quite remember exactly what we did, but I believe it'd be kind of along the lines of this maitake, where you kind of grill it, and season it.
Yeah, it has a very, I'll put a picture in while you're doing that. It has a very unique look. It doesn't look like a mushroom very much, so.
No, they have that I've seen it at Whole Foods most often. Okay, you can see I'm just going to gently that in, bring that up. And then this is the point where you're going to add the vinegar, right? So you can do 2 to 4 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Again, this is like, how do you like it? So I'm going to start at 2. And the more you let this sit too, the flavors are all going to just meld. That looks delicious.
Looks delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Heather, you've got the nurturing in my mind.
I know, it looks so good. And I love that we see the color in there, right? Like we talked about our healthy plate, making sure we get the color in there. We can see that in the soup and get our protein.
Maybe I think I might serve it in this little parfait glass. That would be kind of fun, yeah? We'll do it that way. First, got to get it. If I can bring it up.
I like that that's part of the excitement of cooking is, putting it in dishes that make you feel happy, whether that's a favorite plate or favorite bowl. And, you really go through the whole process, just enjoying it and feeling good about it.
Really helps with my favorite word, that mindful eating. Gets us out of just, you do all this work, you make something so beautiful, have a moment and enjoy the beauty of what you made.
I just figure it's going to be a little more visual if I put it on here with a little bit of green onions and a little drizzle of sesame oil.
Nice.
Anyway, so yeah, nice,
beautiful,
nice and easy. And it's hot.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
I
can imagine your
hands.
Yeah, that's hot.
Chefs have asbestos fingers, but we don't want you to burn anything.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So this would be a nice, easy meal to make, or, a starter if you, have something going. Be a starter to our next dish that we're going to be making.
Ooh.
And I really like how it looks because, often some of us have gone to that restaurant and it's been a viscosity or something that we don't like or too thick or the egg or something, and then we don't try it again. And I really like the idea that you have the control over how thick, how thin, how it feels to you. So really love that. Thank you, Chef. Looks
Yeah,
great.
sometimes people put things like rice noodles in it, water chestnut, not water, excuse me, bamboo shoots.
Mm-hmm.
That's popular in here too, if you like bamboo shoots. So that's kind of fun as well. If you've ever had yuva, which is like kind of like they call it tofu skin, but it's also like coagulated soy milk that kind of it has this wonderful texture. And they sell it a lot of times in Chinatown or in Asian markets. I didn't look yesterday. That would have been fun. And sometimes it's dried, and then you put it in here, and it has almost kind of like an egg texture. That's kind of fun too. Yuva strips.
Mm,
So there's different options on how you can doctor this and play with it.
all
And
right.
we had a question about rice noodles. Do you have a particular brand that you like to use?
No, not really. I like all different variations of rice noodles. I love the fresh ones from the Chinatown noodle factories, where you can make like chow fun noodles, the thick ones. I like the thin ones from like Tinkyata brand. They have spaghetti noodles, and they also have like fettuccine noodle shape. Um, and then well, guess you wouldn't call them rice noodles, the ones that you put in Thai food, pho and stuff like that, or if
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the
Like,
wraps. I guess those maybe are those bean thread or are these rice? I'm not sure, but I don't have a particular brand. No, I kind of like it all and check it all out as they come
Yeah.
out on the market. Hmm.
mhm. Very
Yeah.
good.
Nice. All right. Ready for
Okay. We're
seeing our
ready to move
next.
on.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay, great.
Perfect.
I will move this over.
All right, and we will get to your question, Yvonne, but in the meantime, just want to share a little fun fact about some mushrooms. What do you think, Allison? You game
I
for
know.
that?
It's exactly.
Yeah?
I was going to say, let's add some nutrient facts or fun facts. Let's get some fun
Yeah.
facts.
All right. So mushrooms, you guys, are nutrient powerhouses. They got B vitamins, vitamin D, minerals such as selenium and copper. They're low in fat and are just a healthy addition to your diet. So lots of good things in there. We're not just eating mushrooms, right? We're ingesting so many good nutritions at the same time. In fact, 2.2 grams of protein in 1 cup of mushrooms. So if you're ever wondering, well, how do I get protein on this diet? Right there,
Wow.
And
right?
fiber, Heather. You know how
And
I'm always
fiber.
talking
Oh,
about
fiber's our
fiber.
friend.
There's some fiber in there as well. So it's a good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here now. Let me bring this around. We've got all of our things for our Chinese tacos.
We had a question for you. Would cabbage work
Yes.
in this? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all the
That would be
texture.
delicious.
Whatever. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
love these ideas.
Mm-hmm. That's what's so fun about recipes. You can make it
Hmm.
how you like it, work with what you got in the house.
And for people like me who someone said I just couldn't cook, and then you get that link stuck in your head, just, try. Like whenever I watch you cook, Chef, I'm like, I can do that. And then just give it a
Aw.
try and break that link
Mm-hmm.
of why you can't do it and then make it. Some of us, Heather, you said
Mm-hmm.
it. Some people feel really comfortable in the kitchen, other people not so much, but there's always a place to jump in. And I think what you show us, Chef, is that, yeah, have some fun. It's really fun to try things and textures and different things, different kinds of
And,
hopefully
and and
plant-based.
right, and make it for you. Make
Hmm.
make yourself happy.
All right.
I think the biggest thing about going out is, if you go to a restaurant, you can't, you don't always get it the way you exactly like it. You know, so it's kind of fun when you cook because you can tweak it, to your own taste.
Yep.
Okay,
Don't,
is this one
as
minute?
long no burning yourself. That's all we
I
ask.
know, I know. I'm just gonna bring a cutting board over so I can first off show you Chinese tacos. Let's see. So I wanted to talk about a couple things. So the recipe calls for a sauce that you marinate your tofu in. So I went ahead and cut some tofu up, made the sauce and marinade so that I would be a little bit ahead of the game. What I did was I just cut it into cubes, which I'll show you. And then I kind of turned it You can keep it in the sauce as long as you want, give it some flavor, and then we'll saute it and get it kind of crispy.
This
So
is the firm tofu.
this is firm tofu.
Firm
I
tofu.
ended up, yeah, today it was house brand. It's kind of what's on sale and where I'm shopping. It's kind of the,
Yeah,
I guess that's all of us, right?
that's right.
So, so this is half of a block, which is what this is. And then I just tried to cut it in relatively even size pieces.
It
This
really
again
does
is,
make a lot.
yeah, it does.
And this is after pressing and draining. Do you have to do that for very
This
long?
this was no, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't that long. You know, the firmer one you've got, less you've got to deal with. It
Yeah.
just is nice and firm. But there was some water that came out of it. So yeah, this isn't greatly perfect. Greatly perfect. That is definitely not proper English. Um, but
But the
they're
beginners
not.
like myself appreciate you doing that for us so we feel like we can, it doesn't
Yeah,
have to be
not be
perfect,
perfect.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. There we go. But you get the idea. I was giving you just the idea. And then again, I wanted to show you because we're going to use fresh shiitake here. But you know, this would work really cool in this recipe too. The maitake, right? Oyster mushrooms would be really fun in this recipe too. So if you see something at the store, those enoki ones, they would be really nice in this recipe too. So it doesn't have to just be shiitake. But if you see the shiitake, this is how I look for them. I look for them to be like really nice and kind of white on the inside. They call this the gill. Um, and then you want the top of the mushroom to look nice and dry and no blemishes. So, and when you store these, any kind of mushrooms, it's really good not to store them in a plastic bag. Even when it's in one of those plastic uh, little container boxes, they're usually like black or something, and then they got the plastic on the top. It's always good to take them out and make sure they're not some moisture hanging out in there if you're not going to use them right away. But shiitake mushrooms, I just basically wrap in some paper towels, um, or I have a bunch of old cloth napkins that I use for wrapping like lettuce or anything where I don't want moisture to seep in and start breaking everything down, you know, the moisture. So, uh, and mushrooms are so, they're kind of fussy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, and $16.99 a pound, even though they're light, they're still, you know, it all costs money. So I like to wrap them up, and then I'll wrap them in like the paper towel or the old cloth napkin, and then I'll put them in a plastic bag, and then I'll like seal it. I usually use a little clothespin, you know, and then I put them in the fridge. To make them last as long as possible, because these will last a while if you, and then especially if you get them really nice and like this in this quality condition. So anyways, I just wanted to give you an idea about about that, picking it and cutting it. So again, I cut this stem off. If you feel like you want to keep the stem, you can for other uses. And then you can cut it in half because these are kind of big for the stir fry. And you can see how beautiful. Look how white they are. These are gorgeous shiitakes. It's fun to go to grocery stores and see, you know, when you get the really fresh ones.
And I
It's
think
just
you
like,
really said it. Like you look, sometimes you get stuck at looking what the cost is and you forget this is light. You got so
yeah.
many of them and it didn't cost very much and you don't
So
need a lot in recipes always.
yeah, and I would prefer if I have the option, because not all stores will do it, but I prefer to pick them up loose out of a box
Mm.
than buy a container of shiitake or something for the cost factor, and then you get to really choose them. But I mean that's gorgeous. Look at that. It's like little works of art. So, anyways, just wanted to show you. Um, and then what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to get this going, and I'm going to saute the tofu. See, can I get it going?
I think you might have to have the pan on it first.
Thank you. Because see, I don't use this very often.
Yeah.
I'm plugged in. It's lit. Oh, there.
There you go.
I had to have some heat in the something. Okay, so I've got a little bit of light oil. Today I have organic canola oil. And I'm going to, oh, I have because I have a cast iron skillet, I've got a little basting brush. I'm going to put that here. And I'm going to just pick these out of the sauce. If I can get them browning quickly.
And how long did you marinate them for?
Well, you know, prepping for the class. Hold on one sec. Thank you. Doing two things at once. You know, it's probably been a couple hours, but you know, you can't hurt to do it longer. But I would say, you know, 15 minutes minimum, just to give it some flavor. See if this starts making some saute noises. There we go. Now in this recipe, I have done it like use like veggie ground beef, little, you know, ground. If for any reason you want to do something like that, you can do two kinds of mushrooms. You can do something like, you know, veggie chicken, or you know, you can play with this recipe. But this tofu and the mushrooms are the main showcase here. If you want to bulk it out a bit.
Then we had a question about oils, about seed oils. Do you have any thoughts to share on that?
Seed oils like sesame seed oil?
I'm guessing. Lana, you can go ahead and chat in any additional questions.
There are a lot of different ones like
I don't know seed oil, not pumpkin, not sesame. I've used sunflower. Oh, sunflower seed oil. Yeah, I use that quite a bit. Safflower oil.
I think part of it is, you know, the key is with anything, you still have to think of it just moderation, right?
Yes, right.
In how you use it. But are you asking the question, do you think they're bad or good? I just want to make sure we have the question right.
Yes, avocado oil can be a good one because it's on high heat, right? That's a great one.
Yes. Yeah, I tend to use avocado oil a lot. Right now, I couldn't find, having a hard time finding it, so I went to canola. It's not something I use on a regular basis.
Okay. Yeah, Lana was saying there's been some news articles with them having omega-3 and 6 in some seed oils.
Right.
You know.
Right. So again, I think I try not to use too much oil. In general, but I do use it for sauteing and cooking. I just try and be mindful of the quality of it, where I buy it. See how my body reacts to it. Sometimes some oils my body doesn't like as much. Okay, you can see, so I'm kind of browning it. I don't know if you can tell. I'm just trying not to burn it because this burner runs so hot. But I just basically want to have it saute it so it's a little brown on each side. And one trick, I've mentioned this before, but one trick that I find works really well if you're sauteing, but because I'm trying to also be mindful of time, is if you get it all brown on one, you know, you're sauteing on one side for your tofu, then you turn the heat off and let it sit for a few minutes. The moisture of the tofu will pull it off of the bottom of the pan so that you can turn it without losing your crispy crust. So I'm trying to mindfully turn it as I'm talking without turning the burner off.
Yeah, we had a question about being able to use the air fryer, and I would say yes. I've used my air
Yes.
fryer many times. That can be a quick time saver and less oil in
Yeah.
general for things.
Yes.
So go
Yes.
ahead and experiment with that.
I'm looking forward to that Jamie Oliver cookbook. That sounds like a lot of
I
fun.
know, me too.
I know,
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I did do that recently where I did air fried some tofu cubes for like a soba noodle dish. And that was really fun. It was like 8 minutes. So yes, that is a wonderful idea. You can definitely use that as an option. Okay, all that sambal is going up my nose. The sauce, hold on, let me turn this off before I start coughing. The sauce is a combination of, let me show you. So I've got my tofu cubes, right? And the sauce is a combination of, right here, rice vinegar, shoyu, sambal, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of black pepper. So this is what I
And
put
a lot of
on
flavor.
tofu. A lot of flavor, yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
flavor.
a lot of flavor. So this is how I did it before class. So I've just got that all sitting in there. This is what's got the tofu marinating in. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start sauteing. So I'm going to take this tofu off and then I'm going to lightly saute the mushrooms with the ginger and garlic. Let me see if I can do this. It's not too hot. Okay.
My mouth is already watering with all
I
of this.
know.
Thinking
Oh,
about the flavors and the ginger
Exactly.
and the, yeah,
yeah.
And the nice thing
I
about
think,
stir fries, they go quickly, right?
they
You can
do.
cook, yeah.
Yeah. hmm Doesn't have to take too long.
let me just transfer this tofu off. Sorry, the burner's hot.
It's okay on our side. We got
Yeah.
about 15 minutes left, just to give you a heads up, Chef.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
perfect.
We're
We'll
doing
all be
all right.
ready. I want
Okay.
to come over for dinner.
You can. You're most welcome. Okay. So let's see. Saute. I'm going to just coat this cast iron skillet, which I love dearly. I've had this, gosh, I don't know how long I've had this cast iron skillet. Good 20 years.
I also
Yeah.
like the brush idea because you sometimes we take too much oil and that really spreads it well and kind of can
hmm
make it be a
Mhm.
thinner coating of oil. That's a really great idea. Those do look like a work of art.
Yeah. It's a little
Really pretty.
chunky guys. I'll put the chunky guys in too. Okay. I just don't want to burn these. Okay. So I want to be mindful. Okay. So because this again runs really hot, I got your mushrooms. I've got the ginger. I don't think that's the ginger. I want to put the garlic in until just ready to. Wait, come on down. The one thing about cast iron, it holds the heat a little bit more than other pans. So you got to be mindful of that too.
And then mushrooms typically tend to release quite a bit of water as well, or
They
liquid, yeah?
can, and one
hmm
way to, if you don't want to keep adding oil, you can add a little pinch of salt, and that will release fluid.
Ah,
So it will help with your with the sautéing process. So I got a little bit of salt, just a little. All right, and so I'm going to add the garlic, and then I'm going to add in the tofu. Get these stir frying it around, get some flavor here. Oh, that ginger and garlic is always so nice. Okay, I'm going to add in a bit of the juice that I had, which will help absorb.
some of the leftover
Oh,
marinade.
boy. Yeah. Okay. Yum. Okay. Water chestnut. Onion. The tofu.
Oh, I'm getting hungry, Heather. And it is funny, we do have to put in our notes. I think we're going to have to do an air fryer class, but I think, Heather, you might have to teach it. I hate to say it, since you're our queen.
Right. That would be fun.
We'll have to all three be together. And Heather, you're going to have
Yeah.
to show us how to add some of these things. And it is funny how we get scared of doing certain things. Like, well, as you said, cast iron, I had a fear and I thought, well, it is true. They are great pans. We just get used to what we use.
Mm-hmm. Oh, bubbles going right up my nose. Okay.
Fear those sinuses.
I tell you. Okay, wild green onion, cook a few more minutes, and then we're going to garnish with tomato, sesame, and green. Oh!
Nope. Don't want anything happening to our chef over there.
Oh, somebody's at the door. All right. Okay, so then we're going to add in some, this is just more for cilantro for garnish if we want to.
And more color.
Yeah, let me get a hot pan to hold this.
You guys feeling motivated to cook with mushrooms? You guys feeling like I could do this?
Yeah. So again, you can use fresh or dried shiitake. You know, you can just rehydrate them, save the liquid for another use.
And Chef, you'll have to look back. One of our participants sent a picture that they made. It looks like a beautiful, it almost looks like a.
Oh, they made the recipe? Awesome. Oh. Again, hot burner. Did I lose you? Be there.
Nope, we're still here.
Okay, all right.
I'm still here. Is
So-
Allison still
okay.
here? Oh, we lost
Okay.
Allison. That's why I was wondering. Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So to garnish, I do a little extra green onion, some fresh chopped tomato, and a little
Beautiful.
bit of sesame seeds.
Lots of plant power.
Lots
There's
of
so much we
flavor,
can do.
flavor,
I'm back.
flavor.
I got so excited with all this food.
Ah,
Looking at the food that you guys sent in. Beautiful. Look at that.
it was just quiet all of a sudden.
I know. I'm such
Where
a
did she
yacker in this
go?
class. I get so excited.
Ah, yeah. So I just wanted to let me move this, put this down somewhere that's not hot. Okay, here.
Yeah, perfect.
And
Beautiful.
I'm going to add our chef to this frame here, you guys, just so we
Yeah.
can see you too, chef.
Aw,
I know.
thank you.
There we go.
So the way I like to eat it is, you
Although
know,
I'll
it's
spotlight
usually,
again.
yeah. I like to eat it when I'm with somebody I know. It can be messy, but yeah, you know, it's still kind of hot here. But I've got
Yeah.
hot rice on the stove. You can put some tofu here, you know, and the tomatoes, and then you would just wrap this up. I have some romaine today, and then just eat it like a taco shell. Yeah,
I think
little bit of
lettuce
brown
is so
rice.
great to use that as
Yeah.
like instead of buns, or if you're trying to reduce some of the carbohydrates in your diet. It's such a
Yeah.
nice way. Beautiful.
Sometimes I find too, you know, at night, if you want a little cilantro, you can add some cilantro. Sometimes I find at night, you know, just not eating a lot of carbs, it's easier to digest and go to bed, you know. So I love, yeah. And I just think that eating things in lettuce leaves is so
It's
refreshing.
beautiful. Yeah, more
Yeah.
fiber, more nutrients.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I didn't know, you know, one of the things I'm not sure if people know what, you know, about seeding tomatoes. So I just thought I'd give a quick.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
does
here,
that
I'm going to
mean
take
to
that off
seed-
so we can
seed
look.
a
Yeah, there we
tomato?
go. Here, let me move that
Yeah.
so we can get that front and center.
I don't know how
Thank
to
you.
do this with a hot
Yeah.
burner, but basically for seeding tomatoes, the way I do it is um, you can use your fingers, you can use a knife, or you can, when I used to teach at KCC, they literally would just squeeze the tomato and all of the seeds would go out. But I just like to um, pop out the inside,
Yeah.
the pulp. It's not cooperating very well, but you get the gist. And then you
Mm-hmm.
don't have any of the seeds, and then from there it's a little drier. It's not going to make
Mm,
your recipe wet, and then you can
mm-hmm.
chop it from there. So that's kind of the
Good
gist of why you
tip.
seed tomatoes. Yeah. And that's why I like
Fantastic.
to choose the Roma ones because they're a little firmer. Yeah. Anyways, just
Beautiful.
thought that might be helpful to show.
I think what's so great also is look at in an hour, we're almost at our time. You've made two beautiful meals that took
Mm,
less than an hour to prepare and on the ingredients that you could use from both. And I think that's sometimes we get stuck, but
mhm.
that's the exciting part and it just can go a long way. A lot of food.
Yeah. Yes. 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 So you can just pack it separate for your day at work. You could take your lettuce and this on the side and then some brown rice, put it together and eat it for lunch
Beautiful.
or
That is
dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gorgeous. Yep.
Mhm.
good. And we've inspired some people to go to right away go to Foodland and they're going to get the ingredients. So
Awesome. Very good.
yeah. Uh, Good. Well, I hope that's feeling
Yeah.
doable for everybody. Go ahead and, put in any last minute questions into the chat. And then I'll just pull up the PowerPoint real quick and we'll wrap things up. Can't believe class is done already.
I
It goes by so
know.
fast. Ah,
Yeah. Yep. You're getting some mahalo, chef. Thank you so
Aw,
much.
you're most welcome. Yeah.
okay.
Clean
So
up.
again, if you have any questions, chat those in. As a friendly reminder, we do this every month, so we hope that you'll join us again. So next class will be April 24th. It's a Thursday again, 5 to 6 p.m. Our topic will be spring salads. So we want to welcome spring. We got lots of flavor and color and beautiful things planned for that one. And if you want a little bit of, support in putting this into practice, I mean, it's one thing we can all come, we can enjoy, we can watch Chef and go, oh, that looks like so much fun. I think I can do it. And then we get busy and we get distracted and maybe the best of intentions, right, don't exactly happen. If that sounds familiar, feel free to partner with one of our wellness coaches. Allison and I fall in that category. We would love to come alongside you and provide a little bit of extra support and accountability and resources. And it doesn't just have to be in healthy eating, it can be in any of these areas as well. So you can call the number there on the screen, or you can self-refer by kp.org, or I should say self-register on kp.org as well. And just a reminder, we have lots of other classes that we hope to see you in. They are all offered virtually. We offer these classes every month. We have a wide variety on different topics. So if you enjoyed this one, we hope you'll check out some other ones. These are all free and available for our Kaiser Permanente members. And thank you. So thank you, Chef Alyssa. Thank you for
Thank you.
inspiring us. Thank you to
I do
everybody for
enjoy it.
being here. Thanks, Allison. And
Yep.
any questions or last minute comments?
No, we can take down this PowerPoint so we can spotlight our chef and the food to
Yeah.
finish. That would be
Mm,
the best. I want to
mm.
spotlight you. And yes, we appreciate everyone for coming. Chef, we appreciate the creative soul in you that deals with all the technical to come and make this happen for
Oh,
us
thank you.
across the islands because you are making us all feel so inspired and we're excited to be able to join you again next month. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, hopefully
Thank
we're all
you.
feeling a little more capable than we did walking in, right?
I know, right? I'm ready. I think what always got me with what's the mushroom? The whiteness is so pretty to look at it, to look at the bottom and the gills and what to look for. Like sometimes you just don't know. So
Mm-mm.
it just takes a little fear. Just go and try. There's so many beautiful
Right.
mushrooms.
Yeah,
So
there
yeah,
are.
beautiful. You're
Wow,
going to
look
be
at
eating a
that.
lot of mushrooms, chef.
I know.
She's got dinner and lunches planned for the next few days.
I
Exactly.
tell ya.
Good.
Uh,
All right. I don't see any questions. Everyone's just saying thanks and have a good rest of your
Mahalo.
evening.
Thank
Happy.
you too.
Yes. Looking forward to the next one. We got some good classes coming up.
We do.
Yeah. And I just so it's right there, but I took a picture for you, Chef, so you could see it. I didn't get your hot
Oh,
and sour soup. That was the only one I didn't get a picture of. So here,
you can
let me,
get one here.
I'm going to, hang on. I'm going to stop
Mhm.
spotlighting that. I'm going to have you put it in front again. Put it up or put it a little more center so I can take a
Picture.
screenshot. Yeah, of this great food.
Mm.
Does that work? I don't know.
Let's
Do you
do
want me
one
to put it
more. Right
down?
there, right. Actually, I love that. Keep it just over near the red pepper or the tomatoes a little so I can have perfect. That's great. Just a little. I won't even say anymore. You know me. I'm like,
The
wait.
I'm moving
producer.
it.
The producer. That's all right.
We're gonna have her moving it all around the
I
screen.
know. It's okay. That works. That's great.
Showcasing. Thanks,
Yeah, there
everybody.
you go.
Uh,
Thanks, you guys.
Okay.
I really can't wait to try that soup. I never thought I
does look
really,
good
it really looks good. And I was
Hmm.
one who
Hmm.
had that
and
hot and
simple.
sour soup somewhere that didn't taste quite right. And that looks so delicious. I'm so ready.
Mm,
Yeah.
yay.
Yeah. All right. All right, you guys go enjoy your evening and we will see
See you
you
next
next
month.
time. So here, I know it won't close us out, but Chef, you can anytime you want and you are free. As
Thank
people are
you.
logging off, and we will talk to you next month. Thanks, you
Okay.
guys. Hope we see you in some coaching or other classes.
Aloha. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Aloha. Bye.
Bye.